He saw the value in you. And that's why Tony Mira, who, let's even point it out more, Joe, a stone killer. And his modus operandi was an ice pick. Am I right?
Well, a knife. Yeah, he was a stone. He was a stone killer. Had a few hits under his belt. Just was a mean guy. He was a mean guy. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's jealous, and he thinks I'm making all kind of money, and that's what this first sit down is over.
Okay. Let's roll the tape.
You know, let me tell you something. What? This whole fucking conversation with my wife for the last 45 minutes is all based on you.
What's the matter now?
Hey, Donnie, come off your fucking high horses. Let me tell you something. Now listen to me carefully.
I'm listening.
Oh, you're going to listen. I had a 4.5-hour meeting about you again today.
For what?
Donnie, don't say for what.
Well, Left, you know, you say don't say for what. How do I know? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Who else is involved? A Mira.
Well, what's this guy want? What, you know?
Want nothing. What I tell you, you son of a bitch, that you got me aggravated about this Rocky.
What about him?
Right? Rocky admitted that you made $250,000 in excess amount of money, and I was not going to bring it on my phone. I'm not bringing my phone up, and you know what I'm talking about. That you took $125,000 off him.
From where?
Joe. First of all, he had a 45-minute conversation with his wife about you?
Well, he said 15 to 45 minutes. Yeah, little exaggeration. More like about 5. But go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And then a 4.5-hour meeting with Mira about you. Now, the one thing I don't understand, who is Rocky? Because that's a big player in this phone conversation.
Right. Well, the meeting was actually a sit-down, not only with Mira, but with other individuals in the Bonannos. Rocky was for lack of a better word, an informant that they had next to Mira. Basically, I knew who Rocky was. Rocky didn't know who I was. And he was afraid of Mira, as most people were. And that's the backstory a little bit on Rocky. Yeah.
All right, so Rocky, he was a bad guy, and he was an informant for the FBI. And so he didn't know you, which was a blessing to see or anything, but you knew that he was on the payroll of the FBI, correct?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what his exact role was. All I knew was that he was working for one of the agents. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're talking some big numbers here, Joe. $250,000, and your cut was $125,000. That's what you're being accused of?
That's what I was being accused of, because remember, again, in season 1, we talked about the rules of the Mafia, and one of the rules is you don't steal money from the family. And the allegation was, which was totally false, that I had been involved in a big drug deal with these guys, and I took out of $250,000, I stole $125,000 of the family's money. Okay,
that accusing you of that is a sure death sentence for you if they can prove it.
Yeah, if we lose the sit down, sure. That's one of the rules that if you break, it's a death sentence. Correct.
All right, let's move on.
You say for where? Donnie, Rocky, but I went at Mira till I got in trouble. There's another big sit down.
Now you believe him or you believe me?
Let me tell you something. How many times did you was in Cecil's?
How many times was I in Cecil's?
Yeah.
I was there like two, 3 times.
You said at the door. You told me once you was there.
No. I told you once I worked there. Told you I was there like.
Your question the first time. You said at the door once, but you were there 2, 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing of that, Joe. First of all, it's not missed by me that Lefty calls you a son of a bitch, a deacaboo, but you go right back at him. You go right back at him, and the audience will see throughout this hour conversation that you don't roll over, Joe. You go right back at him, and very convincing. Now,
well, you can't, Leo, you can't roll over because then you lose some respect and you lose some credibility as being a street guy. You gotta handle it the way it is, the way you would in real life.
Okay, well, I've seen you in real life get mad at me, so yeah, you handled it. All right. Also in there, Cecil's nightclub. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Cecil's was a nightclub that Tony Mira was shaking down, and every once in a while he would collect money at the door for the patrons to enter. And and this was in the early stages when I first was hanging around with Mira. And one night we went there, and he told me, he said, start collecting money for the patrons coming in. So that's what I did. Yeah, I forget what we charged them, but
yeah, okay. So that cleared up a lot for me, and I think our audience. Let's move on.
Now, Rocky admitted the bosses. He's on the payroll there. Let me tell you something, my friend. I had a big fight with Sonny over you today. It ended about an hour ago.
About what?
Why? Because they went to him. I told you to go to Rocky. You says no.
I didn't say no.
No, I told you to tell him to get away from that son of a bitch. Did you bring him in town?
Who?
You.
What do you mean I bring him in town?
Did you bring Rocky in town?
Yeah, he come up there. Why?
You come up there. Why?
Now, Lefty is probing, and he's trying to get to something. Did you bring Rocky around, Joe?
no. What I'm trying to do is actually save Rocky's life without the Lefty knowing it, without Rocky knowing it. So I'm saying, yeah, rather than them saying, well, he's with Mira, he's here. So I kind of half-assed said, yeah, I did bring him around, but then I didn't bring him around. I met him through Mira. It got very hairy there, Leo, because they would have whacked Rocky too.
Wow. Now see that I missed.
Yeah, and Mira's getting Rocky to lie to say that, yeah, I know that Donnie stole that money, because he don't want to get on the bad side of Mira. So, I'm trying to keep him alive, and I'm trying to keep myself in a good position and keep myself alive in this conversation.
I told the audience at the beginning, this phone call is, the suspicion, the entrapment. Lefty, he tries it every which way, and you got to be on your toes. And just explaining what you did, keeping Rocky alive, who, whether Mira put a gun to his head or not, sold you down the river.
He actually just doing what Mira's telling him to do,
From Jam Street Media.